Hi, I'm Joan Quinn, and welcome to the Beverly Hills View. Our guest is pianist, narrator, and producer Greg Schreiner. His production of Hollywood Revisited will be presented at the Greystone Mansion in Beverly Hills, and it's also been performed in Palm Springs. So we'll talk about that a little bit later. Greg was born and raised in the Midwest, holds a master's degree in piano from UCLA and Western Illinois University. He's on the faculty of Santa Monica College and Cerrito College, and he does everything. In fact, he's worked as a composer, performer for educational TV series, and that was for Masters of the Silent Screen. Along with his musical expertise, he's got an astonishing collection of movie costumes. So he's appeared on lots of TV shows talking about his fantastic film costumes, but he also has had them displayed at the Hollywood Museum. So Greg, welcome.
Thank you so much, Joan.
You know the owner and founder, Donnell Dadigan, lives in Beverly Hills.
Yes.
And we've had her on the show before, and she's talked about that great museum. So tell us what part you were. It was, I think, the Marilyn Monroe exhibit that you had the most in.
Yes, I've certainly been involved with Donnell in many ways, including the Monroe exhibit, which you've done several times, but I've also, from the very beginning of the museum, had on display always some of my costumes.
So they're like on permanent loan?
Permanent loan, and we alternate, so there's different ones all the time, but I always provide her with 20 to 30 costumes to keep a fresh look at the museum.
And were you there from the beginning?
I was. From the
She
very
bought
beginning.
the Max Factor building and turned it into the Hollywood Museum, which was so apropos.
It is,
because
totally appropriate.
We had the Factors in Beverly Hills, and we have Donnell in Beverly Hills, and I know you do a lot of work in Beverly Hills too.
I do.
You're president of the Marilyn Monroe fan club. How did that happen?
Wow. Well, it happened because in 1982, I had moved here to Los Angeles to go to school at UCLA, and I went to the cemetery to pay my respects to Marilyn on August the 5th, and ran into some other people who also were there for the same reason. We thought, let's form a club, and ever since then, every year, we now present on August the 5th a memorial service for Marilyn at the cemetery where she's buried.
In Westwood?
It's in Westwood,
Oh my gosh. What kind of an influence was she on you?
Oh my gosh, she's been my whole life. If you come to my home, you'll see every wall is covered in the entire house with Marilyn Monroe, every room. And she's, I don't know, been a very major part of my life. I own a huge amount of things that she personally owned. And she has been an amazing, I guess, support for me in many ways.
Did you have that influence when you were in college?
I had it when I was a little boy, believe it or not.
That long?
Growing up in Illinois, I already loved Marilyn Monroe. I don't know why.
Wow.
I just fell in love with her, and it stayed with me all my life.
But when you formed your fan club, did you have any of the people who were around her come to speak to you?
Absolutely. In fact,
Yes.
every year, and we still continue to do this, there aren't many left anymore, we have had many people that knew her speak every year at the service.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, so you do the service right there, and then you have a speaker?
Yeah, we have one coming up August 5th.
Oh,
yeah.
you do? That's so great. Well, you lead two lives.
Yes, I do.
You do.
at least
Or maybe
two.
three.
Maybe more even, I don't know.
So in the beginning, it was piano.
Piano was always my first love. My mother got me started at age 6, and I've always played piano and love it, and that's how I make a living. The other things I do because they're just a passion with me.
So movies?
Movies have always, I grew up loving the old movies. I grew up in a small town where there was no glamour.
Didn't you go to Chicago? You were near Chicago?
Not near Chicago, not near anything. So my glamour was watching old movies on TV late at night.
And on TV.
Yes,
oh,
that's where I saw them.
And then what about this narrator thing?
Well, the narrator thing came because I put a show together with my other hobby, which is collecting movie costumes.
I see,
And that's where that comes in.
So we'll talk about that a little bit later. Can you start with this movie life? How did you start collecting costumes? Because that's such a kind of a hard thing to collect.
It is. Well, I started in the early 80s. I was out here in Los Angeles, and because I loved Marilyn, I went to an auction where they were auctioning Marilyn Monroe. And I raised my hand and got an actual Marilyn Monroe dress. And out of that, eventually I started collecting other stars because I couldn't afford Marilyn anymore. She became more and more expensive. So I thought, well, I love other stars. And one day I woke up and I had 500 movie costumes in my closet.
With other stars, not just many stars.
Yes.
So how big is the collection?
500 now.
We're going to put a few of those things on, and then we're going to ask you how you take care of them. What is this?
Well, that one is actually a cape I wear in the show. It was worn by Barbra Streisand, believe it or not, in her millennial concert in Las Vegas when we turned to 2000. And she wore that as the opening of her whole act.
And
it's made out of mirrors.
It's made out of mirrors in this one?
This we have Annie Get Your Gun. This is Betty Hutton from Annie Get Your Gun, and Jill Burke from my show is wearing it. And it's a spectacular costume.
Actually, the pictures we're seeing on the screen now are in the show?
Yes, everything you're seeing is taken right out of the show.
Oh, perfect. Yeah. So this one?
This one was Arnold Schwarzenegger, believe it or not.
No, is it?
From Around the World in 80 Days. He played an East Indian prince. Not exactly a role you'd expect him to be doing.
Who's wearing it? Somebody really...
Joshua Finkel.
Somebody big.
Well, he's bigger than me, yes. And this is another Barbra Streisand, actually. This is from Funny Lady.
I recognize that.
And it's very popular. This one's very famous. This is Bette Davis from All About Eve, an iconic dress. From the scene where she says, "Fasten your seatbelt, it's going to be a bumpy night."
Oh yeah, is that the one?
This is the dress she's wearing.
So where did you get a dress like that?
Everything's come from auctions.
Oh, they're all from
auctions over the years. This is Carmen Miranda, and this one we're actually doing on a Crystal Cruise. We've done several performances on Crystal, and you'll see we incorporated their dancers into the show too.
So that's part of your genre, is producing on these cruise ships.
Well, not so much producing, but being hired to perform on them.
Performing on them.
And then we sort of produce it on the ship. This is an actual TV costume. This is Diane Carroll from Dynasty.
Wow.
And it's got over 1,000 peacock feathers on a cape.
It's beautiful.
It's spectacular. This is Gene Kelly, and this is from a non-musical that he made, which is The Three Musketeers.
And Gene Kelly used to live up the street in Beverly Hills.
There you go, Beverly Hills guy right there. And this is Mae West. She lived in Hollywood, and this is from Belle of the 90s.
That's a beauty. Is it velvet?
It's black velvet with rhinestones everywhere. And this is a replica of the dress Marilyn Monroe wore when she sang Happy Birthday to President Kennedy.
A replica?
It was made for the movie The Women of Camelot. And Sarah LaFleur impersonated Marilyn in the movie, and they made an exact replica of the dress for her to wear.
And so you bought the replica?
I couldn't afford the original. It went recently in Beverly Hills, actually, for $5.6 million.
The original dress, is it still in good shape?
Mm-hmm. $5.6 million's worth.
Wow.
And I didn't quite have enough, Joan. Just a little short.
Just a little
short in cash.
And who was the last one we just saw?
I don't remember what the last one was.
Let's go back to that.
Can we go back one last one? I didn't see what it was.
That one.
This is fabulous. This is Ginger Rogers from Lady in the Dark, and it is amazing. The outside of the dress, which you can't see, is made of ranch mink. The inside is solid sequins. It is a spectacular dress.
You're kidding.
Yeah, really.
And was she with Fred Astaire in this, I hope?
Nope, this is not a Fred Astaire. Ray Milland was her co-star in this one.
But she did a lot with Fred Astaire.
Mostly, yes.
Who also lived in Beverly Hills, who lived up the street. Yeah, so that's really
great. A lot of good connection there.
Those pieces are spectacular.
And that's just the tip of my iceberg.
Wow.
Just the tip of the iceberg.
So how do you care for those? Because they have to be archival, don't they?
I store things in acid-free boxes wrapped in acid-free tissue. And that helps to preserve them. It doesn't allow for any acid to leach in from a regular box.
And then what happens with the fabrics? Because I know some fabrics are more delicate, like that Marilyn Monroe dress we were talking about that's so many millions of dollars.
Right.
Does that net break or split?
Well, eventually it's going to. Unfortunately, anything that's made with a natural fiber is going to have a shelf life, just like we have a shelf life, because it's a natural thing, and it's eventually going to disintegrate. But we do the best we can to keep it as long as we can. Some fabrics hold up better. Silks tend not to hold up over time as much.
They do? They don't?
They do not.
Because I have some Chinese robes out of beautiful beige silk, and they're just like disintegrating.
They start splitting, yeah. And
where the embroidery is.
And there's nothing you can do to save it, really.
That's it?
Yeah, unfortunately. but you do the best you can.
Well, we talked about the Hollywood
Yeah.
Museum being interested in what you did. Are other museums interested? Did they borrow clothes?
Yes, actually, I had my collection everywhere from Japan to Canada to Italy to Prague.
Are they mostly just art museums, or are they specialized museums?
It depends. Italy was the Ferragamo Museum.
Oh, right.
They have a big museum there, and they showed a Marilyn Monroe display. Mostly, it tends to be museums that are interested in art, but they consider fashion as part of it. So they will bring in some of my costumes for that.
And how do you take care? How do you have them all organized? How do you know where they all are?
Sometimes I forget.
I know.
But pretty much I've memorized where everything's located now. And I have boxes with the titles of the stars
Yeah.
on them.
So they're all in archival boxes with them. Where do you think eventually, like over 500 of these pieces are going to be housed?
Whether I decide to house them or maybe someday I will sell them for my retirement money.
Oh, you could sell
or
them,
something.
right?
Yeah, I could turn around and give them to an auction house.
But
to
you
sell.
know, Debbie Reynolds collected those.
She did the same thing, and
costumes.
she eventually had an auction also.
But the problem was she couldn't she couldn't support it, right?
There was
What's
no.
wrong?
Well, unfortunately, it's very hard to keep a museum going of any kind
She
of
wanted a
museum.
museum, right?
Right.
And that's what the Hollywood
But
Museum is doing.
it takes really big bucks behind it. And luckily, as you know, we have the Hollywood Museum,
Right.
and also opening in a year will be the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and
Oh,
Sciences
right.
Museum in the old May Company building,
Right.
which will also feature movie costumes.
So
for-
they'll do a changing
Absolutely.
exhibition.
And they've already asked me to be part of it, which I'm excited about.
That's
yeah.
great. Will they have a collection? Do
They
have a collection?
they have a few things, not very much, so they're going to need to reach out to people like myself and other collectors to also contribute.
And how many of you are there?
There's a few. I don't
Are there a
I don't
lot?
know how many, but I know there's several other people that do.
So are you
collect.
in competition when you go to auctions?
Absolutely.
And do you compete with other people or with museums?
All of the above, but mainly we compete with the people that are deep pocket people, which can be many times corporations that are really not buying for any reason except investment purposes.
Is that right?
That's right.
But what about, say, the movie studios? Do they come and try to buy things back?
No, they're pretty much thrilled to get money back on things that they didn't know what to do with. In fact, they used to throw them away because they didn't think they had any value. So they didn't take care of them.
What about Western costume and those kind of costume places?
Western cares for their costumes, but they have actually had auctions and sold a lot of their vintage things off.
So do they copy vintage, or what do they have in stock then?
They have a lot of extras costumes. They have a star room where they do have some things that are more famous people, but a lot of their stuff they rent out for Halloween, as you know, and for other movies. And a lot of it tends to be things that were worn by extras, or it can be stars, but they tend not to want to give those out as much because wear and tear, particularly,
Right.
can be
That's why I was surprised you
difficult.
wore these in Hollywood Revisited.
Well,
Those-
we're very careful, and we only wear them for a few brief moments on the stage, and then it comes off again and is taken care of. And they've been holding up pretty well, actually. They're well-made costumes. And if they don't hold up, they're no longer in the show.
So would a costume company send, if somebody wants something that was original, send them to you because they know you have a collection?
They haven't, but they could.
Oh, I
They
see.
could.
They
I
haven't,
can't
but
promise you I'll let them out, but you never know.
Yeah, that's what I
Yeah,
mean. Just even to see them or to
Sure,
appreciate them.
I'm always happy to do that.
I know you've been involved in Beverly Hills a lot. We've talked about the people that you've dressed and the people
Absolutely.
that you've collected. But one of the things that you did was something with the Mansfield Chamber Singers.
Exactly. And
What
they're
is that?
Well, it's a group, believe it or not, originally of psychiatrists mostly, that wanted to get together to sing. And I got with them in 1984 in Beverly Hills, and we're still going strong today. And it's an amazing group, and they do fabulous music, twice a year concerts. And
They do a concert too?
Yes, twice a year. They do it, spring and fall.
And
So-
what do you teach them?
I don't teach them anything. I'm their pianist. They're
You're the
accompanist.
pianist.
Yeah.
I see.
So I play for all their concerts.
And so in school, do you teach accompaniment? Like, say, at Santa Monica College or Cerritos? Do you teach the art of accompaniment or concert pianist?
I'm doing piano. I'm teaching piano to students.
So does that mean beginners?
It's everything from beginners. I also have applied students, which are more advanced students that I work with individually, but I also have beginning piano classes. So if you want to
Oh,
learn,
so there'll be more people than one person in?
there's 20 in a room.
Wow.
So if you want to come learn beginning piano and never took piano, you come to me and I'll teach you, and you'll be playing the piano when you leave.
You have that kind of patience?
I could do that with you, Joan.
No, I can't even find middle C.
You would when you had me.
So do you teach the difference between accompaniment and concert? There must be a big difference.
There is definitely a difference, and not everybody that plays concert piano can be a good accompanist.
That's what I mean. What is the difference? Because you do accompaniment mostly, right?
I do mostly accompaniment, though I have done concert performances too. But the difference really is a sensitivity toward the singer and breathing and almost feeling with the singer. A lot of concert pianists never have that opportunity to work with singers, so they don't understand that.
But they work with a conductor, right?
That's a different story.
Is it?
Yeah, totally different from singers. Singers and instrumentalists are a different story.
So, have you given concerts yourself?
Many concerts. In fact, I do concerts as Liberace. And
You do? Do you have his costumes?
I have a costume of his I wear, and I also play his music.
And you played at the Nixon Library. You did? Did you do Liberace there?
I did not do that there at the Nixon Library.
And also Bellflower Civic. You've done a lot of those things.
I performed UCLA at Royce Hall. I did the Rhapsody in Blue there with the orchestra.
And did you always, would you wear a Gershwin suit?
I don't have a Gershwin suit, but I like dressing up. So that's why my show is so perfect, because I get a chance also to wear something
So
at the
when
same
you would
time.
perform as Liberace, what is the setting?
Well, the setting can be anything from a theater to any group of people that want to hire me to do it.
And are you on a platform with a piano? Tell me what
Sure,
you do.
sure. And I come out in my Liberace costume, and people loved Liberace. And his music is so fun. I found a lot of his own arrangements of his music.
And is it so different? Is that it?
It's flashy.
Oh.
He liked flashy music with lots of ups and downs and arpeggios.
And you do that?
I do all of that. I love it. That's how I grew up.
And then
like
when you come out to the piano, do you have a candelabra? Do you do any kind of Liberace
I
stuff?
should get a candelabra, shouldn't I?
You don't do that?
I should.
I know.
I figure the costume's enough, but maybe I need to get the
No, I
candelabra.
think you need to have it there because it's so perfect, right?
Well, and he loved them. Yes,
and then
he did.
how long is it? What kind of music?
Usually the show runs about an hour, and it's mostly movie music because that's what he played. Occasionally I'll do a Chopin or something because he did a little bit of classical, but mostly his focus was people loved his movie music, and that's what he did.
Did you
mostly.
sing? Do you sing?
Not really.
Oh, it's mostly piano.
Yeah,
So, but he sang, didn't he?
A little,
or taught
a little,
you singing?
a little. Yeah, I sort of do a little of that, but not much.
You say you have 20 people at a time. I always think that music is such a God-given talent, and I'm not musical at all.
You might be surprised, Joan. Take my class. I might teach you differently.
I appreciate what you're doing, but it just seems like the music people are so talented that.
But I think everybody has music, Joan. I think you just have to find it, and that's what I try to do: is find in everybody their music, because it's there. You just have to bring it out.
We're going to take a break.
Okay.
You're not going to teach me during the break because we don't have a piano in here.
We need more time, yes.
But we're going to take a break, and we're going to come back and talk to Hollywood Revisited, about Hollywood Revisited with Greg Schreiner and his life as a narrator and a lot of other stuff. So stay tuned.
So I've come up with a family emergency plan.
Great. What is it?
It's difficult to talk about, so I'm not telling you.
How will we know what to do?
You won't.
I'm so glad I won't have to remember anything.
And me too. Thanks for this, sweetie.
Talk to your kids about who to call, where to meet, what to pack. Visit ready.gov/kids for tips and information.
Hi, I'm Joan Quinn, and welcome back to the Beverly Hills View. I'm here with Renaissance man Greg Schreiner, who has worked and performed in our Beverly Hills community for years, and he has produced Hollywood Revisited, which is at the Greystone Mansion. We're going to take a look at the clip that he brought us.
Hollywood Revisited is a stunning musical and dance review, which showcases a dazzling lineup of costumes actually worn by the stars in the original Hollywood films. Set to the lush and classic music of old Hollywood, sung and danced by top performers from Hollywood and Broadway, Hollywood Revisited is a unique and entertaining musical spectacle where you get to see, experience, and learn about the one-of-a-kind costume creations of Hollywood's golden age. Greg Schreiner, the creator and host of Hollywood Revisited, is not only a classically trained piano virtuoso, but is also one of the foremost collectors of Hollywood's wardrobe treasures. Greg's legendary collection of over 350 unique designs has appeared in museums all around the world.
Fasten your seatbelts. It's going to be a bumpy night. I feel groggy and weary and tragic, punchy and bleary and fresh out of magic, but alive.
You know, I just flew in to be here, and boy, are my arms tired.
For the many clients who book the show repeatedly, they are amazed that they are never given the same show twice. Because of the abundance of Greg's collection, Hollywood Revisited can be altered to fit your performance space and budgetary needs.
Some are, some aren't.
Bubbles, angles, and me.
We're excited to provide entertainment for your next corporate event, cruise voyage, or local performing arts center. Hollywood Revisited, the show that lets you reach out and touch the fabric that dressed the stars.
Hollywood Revisited.
So, Greg, tell us a little bit about that video.
Well, that was a video of pieces and bits from various shows that we've done. We put it together to give people a little bit of an idea about this unique show because there's no show like it in the world.
Do you change it from time to time?
It's always different, but the idea of it being a show with costumes from the movies along with singers recreating those moments from the screen again is so unique that we wanted to have a video so people get an idea of what they're going to come see.
And what they'll see when they go to Greystone.
Right.
Where do you perform it there?
We're performing in the main ballroom area of the mansion, and before we're having a dinner catered by Wolfgang Puck.
Oh, wow.
So they'll get first the dining room with the fabulous meal, and then they come into the living room, ballroom for the show itself. So it's quite a spectacular evening.
When you do that, like in Palm Springs, do you do the same procedure? Dinner?
No.
They're
Normally
all different?
Well, if it's at a theater, it'll just be an actual theater performance.
I see.
But this, because it's in a mansion, it's a very limited seating. They're only allowed 75 people in the mansion.
Oh, wow.
The seating is limited. That it's just a fun way to spend an evening where you get to see the mansion, you get fabulous Wolfgang Puck food, and then you get a fabulous show to end the evening.
And then what do you do? What are you the narrator? Are you the pianist?
I'll be pianist narrator for the show, and I will introduce each costume. And sometimes I tell stories about the costumes because a lot of them have interesting stories about them.
Do you play? Do you sit and talk?
No, I stand when I talk, and then I sit down and play the actual number.
I see. Well, I want to know. Yeah. So we talked about Greystone in the production.
Yeah.
Do you spend time rehearsing up there?
We spend a little time. We'll get there early and we'll do technically. This is actually the 3rd year we've done it now. We have sold out the last 2 years and been so popular they've asked us back a 3rd time this year to do it. And we're thrilled to be back again. So we really know the ropes there at Greystone now.
Yeah, so you know what the tech things that you need.
We're pretty well set now after 3 years of having done it.
And then do you have to bring lights in and sound?
Yes, we bring lights and sound with us because the mansion does not have that, obviously. But it works beautifully.
Do you need a platform, or is it all on the same level?
Because it's a small amount of people, we can do it on the ground level. But it's a beautiful setting, and there's a gorgeous fireplace behind us and a big grand piano, and it's quite spectacular.
So, do you act in it at all, or are you just the pianist?
Well, I act as myself.
You act as yourself.
I'm being me. The other people do get to act because they become a bit of that star.
So where do you get these other people?
Well,
boy, you have singers and dancers, right?
I do. And because I'm a pianist, I work with a lot of singers, and I'm always looking out for people that have big voices but little bodies. So they fit the costume.
Fit the costume.
Yeah. And I'm able to find them, and I've got some really good people that have been on Broadway and starring in productions on Broadway. They're really top-of-the-line people.
And do you audition them, or you just know who they should be?
Well, I'm auditioning when I'm playing for them, so I know. I know when they're perfect and when they're not.
Yeah. I see. So what else do we have to do in that building? Is there anything else like audio or anything else that you need, like tech-wise, that
we always have a PowerPoint projector because we want to project at the same time they're seeing the costume, an image of the actual star wearing the costume in the movie, so they can compare.
Right.
So that's the other thing we do bring in. Yep.
So in a theater, you would have that anyway, right? Theater seating. That would be like the same thing. So has it been presented anywhere else other than Palm Springs and Beverly Hills?
We've done the show all over the world.
You have?
Basically, Crystal Cruises, we've got to do that.
Is Crystal Cruise do the same show that you do here, that we'll be seeing, or similar?
Similar. We're booked for the coming year in West Palm Beach. We're going to be doing Chicago. So we've done Arizona. We've done many other places.
What kind of venues are there? So like in
Mostly
Palm Beach?
West Palm Beach is going to be the fabulous Kravis Performing Arts Center. It's a 2,000-seat theater.
You're kidding.
It's gorgeous. I can't wait to be there.
Oh,
it's going to be such fun.
And then at another place?
Chicago is going to be at a gorgeous theater in Chicago, about 1,000 seats.
So they're really huge. Our productions, it's intimate. You said
this
it's
will be
under
an intimate,
100 people.
which is an advantage in a way because you're right up there close to all of that.
Right,
it's a great opportunity in Beverly Hills to do that.
So do you write the program?
I do.
And how does it start? Like,
well, we always open with a big production number with the whole cast performing, and we're in our bathrobes at that point.
Because you have costumes to put on, right?
And then that introduces into the show itself, and then we swing into various costumes, and it's a fun show. It's got comedy, it's got romance, it's got everything.
So it's scripted. People have things to say. Are there dramatic readings, or is it all?
No, it's mostly singing. Mostly singing. But I have things that I say between each number.
And when you're doing it on the cruise, people on the ship are like, they have to come, right? I mean,
Not
there's
at all.
nothing. No?
No one has to come.
You don't have an audience built in. I was going to say,
it's a captive audience. It's on the ship, but they don't have to actually show up to the theater, but they love it. And it's a one-of-a-kind show, so they really are seeing something they couldn't see anywhere else, and that's special.
And we saw some of the costumes earlier that you have in the show.
Just again, a few of the costumes I own, yeah.
And all
plus the video shows even more.
The video showed shows more costumes. Well, Greg, what else are we going to have you do in Beverly Hills?
Well, I love being here, and since I live Beverly Hills adjacent.
Yeah, we love West Hollywood.
I feel that I've spent a lot of time here in Beverly Hills, and a lot of the things I do are Beverly Hills things, because what greater city than Beverly Hills?
I know.
Right?
Do you take your meetings here?
I've done a lot of things here, and I go to performances just at the Wallace 3 days ago for a big show for Richard Sherman, who's
oh yes,
his
did you
birthday.
work with Richard Sherman?
I have actually. He actually even came to one of my shows because I have costumes from one of his movies.
And which one was that?
It's called The Slipper and the Rose, and it was a movie with Richard Chamberlain, and he wrote all the songs for it, he and his brother. So he came to one of our shows, and I introduced him from the audience, and he's also good friends with my neighbor, Karen Morrow.
Oh, Karen
So
Morrow's great.
She's a terrific lady.
Has she been in your shows?
She has. She's actually done many of my shows. She's so wonderful. I
But
can't
that's
tell
a
you.
voice, right?
That is a voice. Yes.
Yeah, that's a voice.
a great voice.
And so she wasn't here, was she, at the Wallace?
She did not make it to that event, but she certainly has done a lot with me. And the fact I live next door to her is even more wonderful.
And so what about the Wallace? Was it a great audience?
Oh, what an evening. What an evening.
Such a great theater, right?
It was sold out, and obviously people love him, and he's a great man. He's written so many wonderful songs.
But no costumes for him.
They didn't ask for any. I could have brought some costumes.
Oh, you
but
did have costumes from his movies?
Yes, from Slipper and the Rose, I do. So I could have brought one, but they didn't ask for it.
Well, we're gonna make sure that they ask next time. Greg,
Sure.
I'm so glad you were with us today, and I thank you
Well,
so much.
thank you, and I hope that we can get some people to come. I think you have information of how they can.
Oh, we'll show that right now, the
Good,
Greystone thing.
good. And if anybody wants to come, they can just contact that information then.
Perfect.
Grand event and shouldn't be missed.
Good.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, and
Thank
thank
you.
you for watching the Beverly Hills View today. We'll see you next time.